In this video, we'll look at limited vendor reach for property repairs and its serious impact on costs and quality. If you're new to my channel, my name is RoDevia Brigham and I'm the CEO and founder of Proposabid, a done-for-you white glove service provider specializing in sourcing 4 or more competitive apples-to-apples bids and estimations for property repairs, whether they're for single-family homes, multifamily units, or commercial spaces. And on this channel, I'll teach you how to source bids and estimations for property repairs. And my goal is to help you save time, cut costs, and make confident, financially sound decisions for all of your projects. Now, in our last video, we talked about how using the same format and standardizations for repair requests helps vendors know what's needed and keeps things organized for all of your repairs. In this video, we're going to talk about why it's not a good idea to only ask the same small group of vendors for help. If you don't reach out to more vendors, you might end up with fewer choices, higher costs, and subpar repairs. And this is because there's a less competition to keep prices fair and work quality higher. So let's take a look. For today's objectives, we're going to talk about why asking enough vendors for bids through your customized request for proposals or RFPs is so important. We'll also cover why it's key to clearly explain what you need when asking for bids, as this helps avoid confusion and make sure the job gets done right. Finally, we'll show you how reaching out to more vendors gives you better options, lower prices, and higher quality work for all of your repairs. Before we get started, let's look at some facts to understand the problem. Many procurement teams face challenges with complex sourcing processes, which can limit vendor outreach and reduce competition. On average, RFPs see about 9.8 vendor invites with a median of 5. But in property management, those numbers are even lower, closer to 3 invites on average with only 2.23 responses. With vendor shortages and delivery issues already being a big concern, these limited numbers mean fewer options, higher costs, and lower quality work. Now think about this. If you're only getting around 2 vendor responses and are you truly getting the best deal and quality for your projects? How could reaching out to more vendors improve the quality and cost of your projects? And what steps could you take to increase the number of vendors you invite to improve competition? This leads us to the next question. Who's currently managing the entire bid process for your properties? Let's take a closer look. Sourcing vendors is one of the very first steps in the bidding process, and it sets the tone for everything that follows. If your team only reaches out to a small pool of vendors, it limits the responses you'll get, which can affect whether the bids are competitive, comparable, or even high quality. Without enough vendor outreach, the entire process, waiting for responses, comparing bids, making correction, and approving contracts, becomes more difficult and less effective. In the end, this impacts not only the cost, but also the quality of the work you're awarding. Expanding vendor outreach from the start is key to getting the best results. In this discussion, we'll take a look at each of these 6 key problems in detail. We'll start by exploring how fewer choices of vendors can limit your ability to find the best fit for your project. Then we'll dive into how limited competition also leads to higher costs and lower quality repairs, which can quickly derail your budget and expectations. We'll also take a look at how having fewer bids to compare not only makes it harder to negotiate, but also slows down the entire process, taking more time to make decisions. Finally, we'll cover how all of these issues combined drive up overall costs, leaving you with fewer choices and more headaches when something goes wrong. So let's break these down one by one to understand the full impact. So let's take a look at fewer choices of vendors and the challenges it creates in procurement. Limiting your vendor pool doesn't just reduce the number of bids you receive, it has far-reaching impacts on cost, flexibility, and innovation, and even in the local economy. Reduce competition and higher costs. Reaching out to only a few vendors directly affects your bottom line. Research shows that every additional bid in the procurement process can save 3 to 4% costs. For example, on a $1 million contract, increasing competition from just 2 vendors to 6 could save you $100,000 to $280,000. With fewer bids, you lose these critical cost-saving opportunities, driving your expenses higher. Then we have the limited negotiation power. When your vendor pool is small, your ability to negotiate favorable terms decreases. Larger suppliers, in particular, are less likely to accommodate changes to their terms or contracts, leaving you with less flexibility and higher costs. Lack of flexibility and innovation. A limited vendor base also impacts innovation. Study shows that organizations with diverse supplier networks see 133% greater return on their procurement investments. This is because diversity in vendors brings in fresh ideas, better solutions, and more flexibility in the approach to meeting project needs. Economic impact and job creation. Expanding your vendor base has broader benefits beyond just your projects. For every $1 million spent on diverse suppliers, 10 new jobs are created, injecting approximately $123,000 into the local economy. This makes vendor expansions not just cost savings moves, but also a way to support community growth. Then we have efficiency and retention. Companies with more diverse vendor bases also show higher procurement efficiency. They process requisitions to orders of 18% faster, with pre-approved spending 10% more efficiently and effectively, and have a 20% higher annual retention rate for suppliers. By broadening your vendor pool, you gain more than just better pricing. You increase flexibility, foster innovation, and improve efficiency, and even create jobs. These numbers show that expanding your vendor network isn't just a good idea, it's a strategic necessity for achieving better outcomes and long-term success. When competition is limited to 2 or 3 sources, the proposed prices may be higher than when there are many sources. This is because vendors have less incentives to offer competitive pricing. The absence of market pressure allows for higher profit margins. Research indicates that organizations focusing on supplier diversity generate a greater return on procurement investments compared to those that don't. This suggests that limited vendor pools result in fewer opportunities for discounts or special pricing. Diverse suppliers' bases lead to more competitive pricing and better overall value. The lack of competition can have a substantial impact on project costs. In public procurement, focusing solely on the lowest price criteria increases the likelihood of obtaining 3 or more offers. This implies that without such focus, fewer bids are received, potentially leading to overall higher costs. The effects of limited competitions extend beyond immediate pricing. Prices from dying industries often increase due to smaller production quantities and obsolescence. In contrast, technology advances in growth industries can rapidly drive prices down, but only when there's sufficient competition. By expanding the vendor pool and fostering competition, organizations can significantly reduce costs, improve pricing, and enhance overall project value. The statistics clearly demonstrate that a broad vendor base is not just a matter of choice, but a strategic imperative for cost effectiveness in procurement. When limiting outreach to a small pool of vendors, organizations indeed risk missing out on highly skilled providers and potentially settling for less experienced vendors. This can have significant implications for repair quality and overall project outcomes. Let's explore these issues in more detail. By restricting the vendor pool, companies often overlook highly skilled providers who could offer superior repair services. This is particularly problematic in industries where specialized knowledge and experience are critical for high-quality repairs. Relying on a limited number of vendors increases the likelihood of choosing less experienced providers who may not meet the project's quality standards. This can lead to subpar repairs that may not fully address the underlying issue. Increased likelihood of reoccurring problems and potential safety risks if repairs are not performed to the highest standards. A diverse supplier base is more likely to bring innovative approaches and specialized solutions to repair challenges. Research indicates that organizations focusing on supplier diversity have a greater return. As a result, costs go up. When you have fewer vendors, costs naturally increase because there is no competition to push prices down. Without enough vendors bidding, you're often left with no choice but to accept higher bids, simply because there's no lower cost options available. This lack of competition makes it much harder to find the best value for your money. With fewer bids to compare, it's nearly impossible to determine if you're getting a fair price, which often results in overpaying for services. Expanding your vendor pool is key to keeping costs competitive and ensuring you're not spending more than you need to. With fewer vendors to choose from, organizations have less information to judge the quality and the value of each option. This lack of diverse options can make it difficult to establish benchmarks for quality and value, and organizations may struggle to find the best value for money without multiple bids to compare. And then there is the increased risk of overpaying, with a limited vendor pool and potential receiving lower quality work. Without a structured process for reaching out to vendors and collecting bids, projects can face significant delays. Studies show that each additional bid in a procurement process leads to cost savings of 3 to 4%. However, without an efficient system, gathering these bids can significantly delay project start times. Without an organized approach to vendor management, significant time is wasted on follow-ups and inefficient communication. Effective communication is key to successful vendor relationships, but without proper channels, misunderstandings can lead to delays and increased effort. Establishing clear collaboration and communication channels early in the process helps prevent misunderstandings and ensures smooth collaboration, reducing the need for time-consuming follow-ups. And the lack of an effective vendor selection process can have a substantial impact on overall project timelines. According to research, only 13% of business leaders have formal supplier management processes in place, indicating a widespread issue with inefficient vendor selection methods. Ineffective project planning and scheduling, which includes vendor selection, is one of the top causes of project delays. Implementing a structured vendor selection process is a powerful way to improve efficiency, save time, and enhance procurement outcomes. For example, Chassis Brakes, a leading manufacturer, reduced vendor evaluation and research time by 90% with a structured approach, while also speeding up the integration of new suppliers. A well-organized process minimizes delays, streamlines bid selection, and reduces time spent on follow-ups, which not only accelerates project timelines, but also delivers cost savings and better overall results. To address rising costs and ensure high-quality outcomes, organizations should expand their vendor pool, prioritizing rigorous evaluations and embrace vendor diversity. These strategies increase competition, improve pricing options, and bring fresh innovation to projects. By defining clear quality and cost metrics, investing in market intelligence, and fostering strong vendor relationships, companies can mitigate risks and set themselves up for long-term success. In the following volumes of this series, I will dive deeper into each of these strategies, showing you step by step how to expand your vendor pool, implement rigorous evaluations, and create a structured approach that delivers the best results. All of the information shared in this discussion is backed by research and real-world examples. For those interested in exploring further, I've included a list of references that provide deeper insights into the topics covered. Feel free to review these resources to gain a more detailed understanding of how these strategies can make a significant impact on your projects. If you enjoyed this video, then check out the next one, where I break down the role of transparency in the repair bidding process, and why clear and honest communication is essential when requesting bids. We'll look at how transparency, being upfront about why you need a bid, can make a big difference in building trust and keeping vendors engaged. And don't forget to scan the QR code for your free strategy call to explore how you can prevent losses, save millions, and focus on what matters most. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you on the next one.